that their auto factory is facing closure. Skeleton Crew is on stage now through June 9th. Tickets at GuthrieTheater.org.
Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Need a stone to change your luck or break a curse? Try larvikite, known for its hex-breaking powers. Need an herb to repel negative spirits? Try rue, used to repel demons and jinn. Want to create a decoy so black magic can't touch you? Make a witch bottle. For more magical advice, visit Magus Books in Minneapolis. We've got the tools and the expert advice you need to succeed against the dark arts. Find us at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis or at magusbooks.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms this evening with an overnight low of 52. Some thunderstorms this evening could be severe. Then Wednesday, a chance of rain with a high of 71. The second annual Queer Me Out series explores the vibrant history of Twin Cities pride. Queer Me Out will take place at the W Minneapolis The Fauché, Tuesday, June 4th at 5:30 p.m. Ticket information at am950radio.com. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night I talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining me on this Tuesday evening. And boy, it seemed to have taken a lot to get here, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. But I just wanted to quickly say I wanted to thank Shara Savoy. I wanted to thank Maria Shaw and all the practitioners at the Charvinity Psychic and Healing Fair that just took place this past weekend. It was a lot of fun. A lot of great people, a lot of learning on my end. That's the great thing about these is that you learn. You're always learning. You're learning new things all the time, and that was really fantastic. So I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled. And every time you go, you meet somebody new who is interested in working with you or doing something with you, and that was fantastic. Now I need to apologize though, because I really bigged up this live Sunday episode of GhostBox Radio at the Charvinity Fair, and it didn't happen. And we're talking tonight about scary experiences, right? I think this might be the scariest, even more than any sort of paranormal thing I had going on, and that basically was that I came home Saturday night from the fair, getting ready to set up my StreamYard. And for those who don't know, that's the way that I connect to the station, and so I can do the show through the station, and I'll also go out on Facebook and all the other social media platforms. And I get home, and I'm setting stuff up, and it won't let me set up. I'm not able to set up at all, and I was really frightened about that, because I'm like, well, what's going on here? I mean, I was super tired. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm just tired. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I ended up just like doing it a few more times. It's not working. So I go to Facebook, and my page doesn't come up. And I get this message saying that my account has been suspended for going against community standards. I'm like, what? What is that about? So I'm like racing through my mind, like, what did I do? I'm not one of those people that puts a lot of controversial stuff on my Facebook page. It's just not me. So I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm not sure what it is. And it says I have a 180-day suspension, which basically, as we all know, that's about half a year. I'm like, what? So it said, if you want to appeal this, click here. So I click here or there, I guess. I don't know. And it says, take a picture of yourself and send it to us. I'm like, what? Okay, I don't know how that works. So I get a picture, I send it off, and I wait. And it says, your appeal has gone through. We'll let you know in about a day or so, which is fine. And then underneath, though, it says, if we do not approve your appeal, your account will be permanently banned. You're done. And that was really frightening because it links to my Facebook pages, such as GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun and a number of other pages. So it means that I couldn't get to those pages. And it was really pretty ridiculous, actually. It was very scary. I tried not to let it to like ruin my day or anything, because it was so much good stuff going on at the fair and everything else. But boy, I mean, it was really like it was frightening, because it's, once again, it's people are going to say, well, that's the problem with having social media like that. You get too adapted to it. You count on it too much, which I agree. I totally agree. I'm certainly not saying that I'm oblivious to that. But when you link your businesses to it, when you link your passions to it, and suddenly after 15 years of building it up and it gets taken away, that's frightening. I mean, that is absolutely frightening. And so it was like, well, start thinking yourself. I mean, first of all, I didn't have a great plan in place because I didn't have anyone else on my page, my GhostBox Radio page, so that if I start up a new account or something, that I could be added to it. All sorts of different, thoughts went through my mind. And it was really it was very troublesome, actually. And so I couldn't do the show on Sunday because I couldn't get to my StreamYard account, couldn't connect to any of the Facebook pages. I thought, well, I'll outsmart this, of course, because I'm such a big brain over here. I'm going to use the station's StreamYard account, and that will take care of everything. I won't be able to stream to all the places, but I can still stream to AM 950, and therefore I will be able to do my show Sunday as I said I would. And that didn't work either. It still saw the ban and wouldn't let me do it. So that was very difficult. So I thought, okay, we roll with the punches, don't we? Worked with Brett. Brett was very helpful. And once again, I need to stress, I like to joke about the station quite a bit, but none of what is happening here has anything to do with the station. It all goes back to the suspension of my account. So Brett's working with me for Sunday, knowing that we need to put something else on instead of what I promised. Rolling with the punches as I do, I decided that I was going to pre-record then. We have people there. I'm going to record an episode, and we're going to play it later, because I have all my gear, my mixer and everything else there. So I go, over there. It's not like I don't have a lot of time to set up, folks. I have a great deal of time. Shar made sure that there's plenty of time for me to set this up, to make sure that we had as much time as necessary for me to put all this together. I set it up in about 15-20 minutes. I'm pretty proud of myself. We start the recording, and I know right away something is wrong. And it's like, we have Maria Shaw there, we have everything, but it's not, I mean, it's fine, but something's not right. It's not looking right on my Adobe Audition when I'm recording. Brainiac over here, Mr. Radio himself, amateur AM, as I like to call myself on occasion, I forgot to plug my mixer into my computer, which makes it completely useless. because I'm looking at the levels on my mixer and they're looking great, but they're not looking great on Audition. So therefore, it's like, well, okay, well, that's messed up, isn't it? Yes, it is. And so I'm trying in my mind, kind of screaming, as I have been all weekend since I got my suspension, screaming to myself, like, what did I do? Why is this not working? And I have Maria Shaw with me, who she doesn't have a lot of time. She's, it's her convention is Char's convention. They have things to do. And so I'm just like, okay, well, in my mind, what am I doing? What I'm doing? When we get to the end of the session, I'm like immediately, I finally see, not immediately, it took a long time, clearly. I finally see that it's not plugged into the computer. So I tried to nonchalantly, to not look like a Burke, to, in front of an audience, which, I didn't think we'd have one because I just don't think that, why would people really care? They all came to see a live radio show. Well, they aren't going to see that. They weren't even going to see one that was recorded, quite frankly. So we were watching. I'm like, oh, I think I could figure out what's going on between the segments. Maria had to go. We have a plenty of other wonderful practitioners that were going to come on. Meanwhile, I'm plugging it in. I'm actually doing what I should have done when I had all of this time to get it figured out. And so the second and third segment were much better. I didn't myself become a radio host until the third segment, because the second segment, I'm just still trying to figure out what I did and what I did wrong, all this stuff. And finally, I kind of fell into, the more being more comfortable in the third segment. So, it's great episode, if especially talking to the practitioners, because they are so passionate and they make so much sense. And maybe if I ask Shar and Maria very nicely that they will kindly re-record that first segment. They're both very busy, but this is such a great opportunity for people in Minnesota to learn about new modalities, to learn about what is in their city for energy healing, for help. And it's very good. And it's just a shame that you had somebody who didn't know what they're doing, basically. I mean, I did know what I was doing, but not that day. I brought all these boxes of stuff with me, but I forgot the box that had my brain in it, I think. And I left that back at home. So, you got that going on. And I said to Shar right away, well, sorry, and I, hopefully, if she went into another room and just under her breath, just like, said my name in vain a few times, I wouldn't disagree with that at all. But the thing is that we went out afterwards, we had dinner, it was very nice. And then I woke up the next day to this little screen on my Facebook saying that the ban had been lifted. The suspension has been lifted. I'm very sorry, it said. Facebook said that they're very sorry that they did that, but they have to do that to people from time to time. And that's what they did. And, just the relief of like, okay, well, I didn't lose everything. Meanwhile, talking to Ernie Pack, who you may remember from such programs as this one, Ernie had said to me, he's like, well, I never had a problem having a blue check mark, that verification on Facebook that costs money. And I've been a big opponent of that, to be perfectly honest, because I often feel like that's more of an ego-driven thing than anything that actually helps you. But I succumbed to it, and now my name has that little check mark, and I'm actually not proud of it because it costs money. But I just don't want to lose anything. Doesn't mean that it doesn't probably mean that you can't lose it. I mean, obviously you break the standards, the community standards, that happens. But I'm trying not to break the community standards. I don't know what I did, but that does bring up a interesting point, is that if they did kick me out, I would have never known for what reason, apart from I broke the community standard, and that alone isn't enough. If they, and that's the weird and frightening thing is that we're all on this, by a string, by a thread, and that they could, take away what we've, our friends or whatever else. Yeah, we could start over. But think about the businesses that are, relying on Facebook. Think about people who may not be super social outside of their house. Facebook is what it's at. And what if something like that happens to one of them? I can imagine people are probably being like, well, that's, they should go out and make friends. It's not as easy as that. It truly isn't. And it's just, I think they have a better responsibility, Facebook that is, to be able to, if you're going to do that, you got to have a better reason than just like, well, you did some very generic thing that we're not going to tell you about. And right away, people are saying to me, "Ooh, I wonder who took you down." Like it's one single person. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know, but in my opinion, I can't imagine that it's one person. I think it's some kind of robot check thing that's going through that kind of went through it. I just can't imagine. It's really sad if it is one person that was able to take it down, because I have reported posts before, and I've never been successful in reporting posts. And what I mean by that is, like, I've seen posts that are blatant racism. I've seen posts that is animal cruelty. And I reported, and well, we took a look, and it does not transgress our community standards. Racism doesn't transgress that. Are you kidding me? Okay. Come on. So it's one of those things that it was pretty ridiculous. It's over now. I got the blue check mark. Hopefully that's kind of like allows me to, kind of freedom. I feel like a hypocrite with it, though. I never wanted one, and I've openly said about people. Ernie knows this because he felt like he had to defend himself to me. He didn't, but people are like, well, it's, they don't get those hackings. They don't get a lot of that stuff. So I'm hoping that changes things, and that I don't have to go through that again. I also hope you don't have to go through that ever. It's not great. Once again, I can kind of in the back of my mind hear the people who are, maybe not as connected to Facebook as some of us are, and that's fair. But to some of us, we need it for various reasons, for various degrees, and honestly, that is something that should be considered. With that. So why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's go ahead, take our first break. When we come back, I want to talk about scary places. I also want to hear where you've gone that's scary. Put it into the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, or let me know places you'd like to go. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Are you one of thousands of individuals who know you have psychic abilities but don't know how to tap into your higher self? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who offers classes that can help you reach your goals. Refined Divine holds classes Monday and Thursday at her 2 locations and via Zoom. Classes consist of manifestation, learning psychic abilities, shadow work, and healing trauma. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
This is Psychic Medium Deb. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with MetamorphosisConnections.com. MetamorphosisConnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search MetamorphosisConnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
Did you know that spiritual awakening is not all love and light? Surprise! Inner demons, ego deaths, and tower moments are on the horizon. But while life might hand you some harsh lessons, we've got the antidote to soothe your weary soul. Why not try a dragon's blood bath? Or schedule a Reiki aura repair? With books, herbs, talismans, candles, and more, we put the Shazam in shadow work. Visit Magus Books at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis or magusbooks.com.
The Tilted Tiki, located in downtown Stillwater, helps you get your tropical tiki vibe on with a large selection of fantastic tasting tiki cocktails served in unique and fun glasses, a menu of delicious food ranging from small bites, craft tacos, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget they have live music Wednesday through Saturday nights. Located in downtown Stillwater, the Tilted Tiki is your tropical relaxation restaurant in Minnesota. Visit thetiltedtiki.com.
This Wednesday on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun, tune in for one-question readings with the highly acclaimed psychic medium, Refined Divine, who can answer questions about love, life, and connecting with past loved ones. Get a potentially life-changing reading by calling.
I can answer the question I've had all my life.
Delve into the exceptional talents of Refined Divine at refinedivine.com and experience her live Wednesday at 10 p.m. for psychic medium Refined Divine on GhostBox Radio. And welcome back to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's great to be back. Quick programming note. Last night, we ended up not doing the episode because we still had some technical difficulty that I needed to work through. Once again, not the station, me. And I say that because, I like to kind of kid around about the station, but they did absolutely nothing wrong here. It was all on my end. And we had this amazing episode planned. That was the gentleman who wrote the book regarding the meeting of President Nixon, Jackie Gleason, who had been friends, going and seeing some bodies of aliens that Nixon knew where they were at. And there's a whole story about that, whole book written about that. We moved that to June 3rd. That is going to be, I've been waiting for nearly 2 months to be able to talk to him. And so I'm excited that we're still going to do so. So please just know that in June 3rd, we're going to do that. We have a lot of great episodes coming up. And also Wednesday, we have, as you heard in the commercials, we have Psychic Medium, Refined Divine. We're going to do one-question readings. So get those ready to go. Call in, put them in the comments. Do whatever you want to do. It's always a lot of fun. Deb is amazing. Her husband, Dave, is amazing. Adam is amazing. So it's an amazing show. So definitely check that out. We're talking about scary locations, situations when doing paranormal investigations. Let's open that up. Let's open that up to ufology. Let's open that up to Bigfoot, whatever. I know we normally talk about the positive sides of it, but what about some of the more scarier stuff? Scary stuff doesn't mean that it has to stay scary either. It could also be that, it starts off scary and then you start to understand what's going on around you. Lauren says that she went to the catacombs in Paris a few weeks ago, being empathic, I had to put a block up. Absolutely. I still felt so many emotions and energies there. Oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine. That is intense. That is intense. Boy, I bet there's a lot of people in there who need help, to be honest. That'd be my thought on that. Wow. That's incredible. I think that's a place that I would be very interested in checking out myself. I don't go to a lot of foreign countries unless they speak English, only because I just, even when they can speak English, I just don't seem to be able to make it work. So, yeah, that's how that works for me. I remember I went to Mexico many years ago. I took Spanish in high school. Not that I was great, but you think I'd be able to get around and get along. No, I made a complete idiot of myself. They're just like, what are you saying? And that's fair. I think when I speak my native language, people are still like, what are you saying? So I get it. I totally understand. So, I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to go about this when talking about locations and whatnot. And because a lot of these I have talked about before, but it is, excuse me, I have a cough still. It is, it's kind of like trying to put a new spin on some of this stuff. One of the places that I've really talked about quite a bit is the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa. And, that was an early on adventure for me because I didn't have a team. I didn't know anybody else. And that is something that it makes a big difference. And, one of the things I like to do is when we talk about our paranormal experiences on here, I'd also like to pass along stuff that I've learned from it, that I hope that if you are somebody who wants to do paranormal investigations, that you maybe listen to a little bit what I have to say. Not that I am, King Paranormal over here, but what I am is somebody who's had a lot of years of experience. I hope that some of the stuff that I say might stick with some people when they go out and do their own investigations. Case in point, Villisca, I went with people I never knew, people I've never met before. Only one of them out of the 3 other people do I even talk to now, and he's a good guy. And when it comes to that, the purpose why you want to go with people that even if you all are a little bit inexperienced, there's people who know you. There's people who support you because they know you. They know if you are maybe get some kind of attachment suddenly, if something's affecting your mood. These are things that happen on locations that you go to that, for some reason, a lot of people like to go to dark locations. I was one of them. I'm not so much that anymore. But you when you go to these places, there are people who get affected and they start changing their behavior, their manners, their expressions. They either get really red, they get very they either get quiet or they get angry when they talk to you. When you're asking them a simple question, they're getting angry with you in the answer. They're fidgety. You just know that there's something different with them. If you're going to people you don't know, they don't really know about you. They just might think you're an angry person. So you do want to have those check guards in place. If you haven't done a lot of investigating, though, the first and foremost, I beg you, find an event that you're not going somewhere dark. Okay, go find an event at the Palmer House. See one of the events that we're doing where we're going to take people to places that are not dark. It doesn't have to be a dark place. It doesn't have to be a place on TV to be able to get yourself started in a paranormal investigation. And I think that's something that I find too many people really hang their hat on is, well, if it's on TV, I want to be there. And I also run into situations that people, they may believe, okay, and they may believe that these places have darkness to them, but what they don't do is they don't respect it. And what I mean by that, you go to a location that's dark, and if you think everything's going to be all right, or once you walk out of that building that it's all going to be fine, you will be mistaken. And there might be somebody on here right now listening that can understand what I'm talking about, who just had a great deal of energy work done, and it's brought him back to life, basically, after being in a very very tough and actually very scary situation at an investigation that I was at with him last year. And it reminds me of my Villisca situation, because we were at this location in Missouri and we were doing an investigation, and things got very scary for a couple of the people there because they aren't used to it. And, I don't want to come across as Mr. Macho over here, like, well, it didn't affect me. It's because it affected me 10 years ago. After doing this for a great deal of time, you learn a lot of stuff. You learn how to take care and what certain things mean. And there's a couple people in there that didn't know that because they didn't have the experience doing so. And I can guarantee, based on the looks on their face, they were in a living nightmare that probably felt inescapable. And some of you who are listening might be like, well, what does that mean? I mean, you're just at a location and it's like spirits, a ghost, who cares? Here's the thing. You'd be surprised with what they can do if you are not careful, if you do not respect it. Case in point with Villisca. There's a lot of stuff that happened to me at Villisca. One of the things I don't always talk about is before I went on this trip, my coworker, we were talking about it, and they knew that this was a very dark place, but they thought it was kind of funny. Oh, you're going to go, ooh, don't be careful. Make sure you have some lights on in there or something, whatever. Before I left, he looks at me. I remember him looking at he's in his computer, like in his desk. He looks up and he goes, wouldn't it be crazy if like a tire blew out or something when you were like coming back from there? Yeah, hilarious. We had a very crappy night at Villisca. We had ran out with our tails between our legs a couple of times. During that period of time, what I just said about my friend from last year, in 2014, I felt that place was inescapable because of what was happening to us. The nightmare scenario. Everywhere we looked, something was dark, something was prodding us, something was yelling at us. We took a picture of the house. Every window had a face in it. Probably pareidoia, but at the time, it didn't matter. It was scary. It was frightening. It felt like there was no escape. It felt like, honestly, if we got in a car and left at 2 a.m, there would have been some accident. Oh, but there was. Because we were up all night. We were up the night before. We didn't eat. We were dumb. And we get, for one of the things you need to do when you're leaving a location, and I know a lot of people who I see in the chat right now know exactly what I'm talking about. You have to kind of renounce that spirits cannot follow you. And those who don't know what I'm talking about, who are listening, are like, what do you mean? They will attach themselves to you. Some will. Doesn't mean that they're evil, but it means that they will attach because they like your energy. It's a fatigue. It's really bad. It can be really bad. And I said to the people that I was with, the other three, let's not get into the car until we clear ourselves, until we say that you're not allowed to follow us, because I think getting in the car, it makes it very fresh. It's a finality to it. One of the guys with us, once again, I don't know these people. He's like, absolutely. He's all about it. And then he gets in the car. I grabbed him, I pulled him out, and I said, what did I just say? Oh, that's right. Sorry. It's like Goofy over there. And as you could tell, I still have no emotion about this or anything. 10 years later, I'm not angry about this or anything, am I? So we're driving back from Villisca. Now, Villisca is about 6 hours from Burnsville, which is where we all had our cars. And I'm sitting there, and I'm in the back seat. My eyes are closed, and I keep getting, jolted awake. I keep getting jolted awake more and more and more. Something isn't right. Something is with me. That's scary. It's scary, especially when you're at Villisca. And this was early on. I wasn't doing some of the stuff that I do now. So I had these people these people who are supposed to be helping us. They are, I said to them, I think I have an attachment. And, now the people I'm with, they would, they'll pull over and they'll put me on a gurney and they'll, do all sorts of stuff to get it away from me. At this place, what they're saying is, oh, well, that's too bad. Ugh, hope you can get that figured out. It's funny now. At that time, it was simply terrifying, to be honest. And the thing is that so I'm just like, okay, whatever. And the person driving, she's like, oh, I'm too tired to drive. She had a voice like that, and it's her truck. And I'm like, I can drive because clearly I'm not going to sleep. And I get in the car, and I remember my coworker back a few days before. Wouldn't it be funny if a tire blows out? I'm driving, 3 tires blow out. And 3 tires blow out of that truck. I'm just driving it. Honestly, I'm just driving it. That's all I'm doing over here. That is, it's terrifying because you already know that there's something with me. And she's just like, what are you doing? I'm driving your damn car. I don't know. I don't know. And, it took about 4 hours out of our schedule because it had to be fixed, obviously. Everyone had a breakdown at that point. And it wasn't about paranormal. It wasn't about Velisca. It was about their lives. It was about things in their lives that were happening. Each and every one of them had a breakdown. I get back to my car eventually in Burnsville. I live out in St. Michael. It's already now it's rush hour. Now it's bumper to bumper. I open up my car door, and there is the sweetest smell of perfume, like roses. Sweetest, overwhelming. Where did that come from? Years later, people are telling me, well, I think that was there to calm you. It did the opposite. And so I get in this perfume mobile, and I'm driving back to St. Michael. That scent does not leave the car for almost 2 days. There is nothing in there. There's nothing in there to cause that. So I'm hungry. We hadn't eaten. And I go to McDonald's, and I get some food. I bring it back home. I sit down, and I'm about to take my first bite. The electricity dips in and out. That doesn't mean that's paranormal, but it was enough to put an end to my appetite, that's for sure. I was just like, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. And I threw the food away. It took 3 months to get rid of it. I didn't know how to. It eventually just went away. It's one of those things that there's something in your peripheral. And once that was in your peripheral, everywhere you went, you could see it a little bit. I had to sleep with the TV on. I was horrified. I was a mess, and now, of course, you'd find somebody who is really good with energy. And I know many who are, and I would get help. I didn't know that, and the people I was with couldn't help me with that, and that's a problem. So that was something that was really very difficult. And so I go into work, and I'm a mess. I don't have a crucifix. I have a rosary. I'm wearing the rosary around my, it's just like no one wears rosaries like that. That's not what they're there for. I'm wearing that. And the guy who's just like, well, what happened? And I said 3 tires blew out. He literally turned his body back to his computer and just started working again, like I didn't exist anymore. And we never spoke of it again. And it started to affect other people. Like whatever was with me started to affect other people. Other people were wearing crucifix. Not to say that that's what needed to happen. That's all we knew what to do. Like now I would pull everyone together, and we would do like smudging. I'd bring someone in to help cleanse all of us. Back then, wear a cross. I don't know. Very different. Learns a lot of stuff. So, I guess, that to me is very important. And so what I want to do, I see some questions, and I want to get to those. I want to get to other stuff. Anything on your mind, put into the comments. We have a lot more to get to here. And there's one I want to answer in particular. So let's put some more comments in and let's keep talking about this. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
The Tilted Tiki, located in downtown Stillwater, helps you get your tropical tiki vibe on with a large selection of fantastic tasting tiki cocktails served in unique and fun glasses, a menu of delicious food ranging from small bites, craft tacos, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget they have live music Wednesday through Saturday nights. Located in downtown Stillwater, the Tilted Tiki is your tropical relaxation restaurant in Minnesota. Visit thetiltedtiki.com. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with metamorphosisconnections.com. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search metamorphosisconnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
Need a stone to change your luck or break a curse? Try larvikite, known for its hex-breaking powers. Need an herb to repel negative spirits? Try rue, used to repel demons and jinn. Want to create a decoy so black magic can't touch you? Make a witch bottle. For more magical advice, visit Magus Books in Minneapolis. We've got the tools and the expert advice you need to succeed against the dark arts. Find us at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis or at magusbooks.com.
This Wednesday on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun, tune in for one-question readings with the highly acclaimed psychic medium, Refined Divine, who can answer questions about love, life, and connecting with past loved ones. Get a potentially life-changing reading by calling.
I can answer the question I've had all my life.
Delve into the exceptional talents of Refined Divine at refineddivine.com and experience her live Wednesday at 10 p.m. for psychic medium Refined Divine on GhostBox Radio. And like that Macho Man just said in the break, join us tomorrow as we're going to have psychic medium Refined Divine on. You know, these are a lot of fun, and they're also pretty emotional as well. This is really something I look forward to every other week because you get to hear people get some really good information that really helps them, and I really do appreciate that. That Deb does that. And, you know, unfortunately for some, Deb tells it as it is. You know, that's kind of the risk that when you ask a question, you know, it's not always going to be what you want to hear. And, you know, I was just talking with somebody at the fair the other day that, you know, when someone asked me, you know, there's some stuff happening to me, what do you think that means? I've learned a long time ago not to jump to conclusions with what that stuff means, only because I'm wrong every single time. You know, if someone's like, oh, this, you know, I see this happening for you, and I see this, and I see this. in my mind, I might have the idea of like, oh, I bet this means blah, blah. But in fact, it doesn't, so I've learned for myself a long time ago how that works. And so she is absolutely fantastic. And this is something that, I hope that you all tune in for. If you have a question for Deb tomorrow, it's going to be quicker to call in. People who call in get to the front of the line. So, some people are like, I don't like hearing my voice on the radio. You know what? You don't have to hear your voice on the radio because you're going to be on the phone. So it's all good. And I would recommend, if you have a question, this is a great example of being able to get like a free sample, quite frankly. But anyway, so I digress there. We are talking about kind of scary locations, experiences. I want to get to the comments here because I have a couple people here who have some good comments, and some I'd like to kind of address here. Chantel, who we haven't seen in a long time, says I'm always about protecting myself. So much so. Now, Arthur, I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure if you're trolling me. I don't mind being questioned, but on every single thing I say, Arthur, I'm not quite sure what we're trying to do when we're talking about asking spirit not to follow us home. Arthur says, is it really that easy? Just saying you're not allowed to follow us. Why do entities have to listen and obey? Quite frankly, it's about intention. And we talked about this before, Arthur, one of the GhostBox sessions that you were listening in on. You are in control. I'm in control. Spirits are not in control of us. But if we don't put up those barriers, if we don't put up those parameters, then there is nothing to stop them. You have to be in control and you have to lay it down for them. And some aren't always the greatest people, but you put out that intention, and those intentions and those words mean a lot. So those are very important to do. And that is why you need to say it, you need to do it, and you need to mean it. You can't just be like, don't follow us, and just those are words. You need to actually be like, in your heart, you're protecting yourself. It all starts with protection anyway. And at the end, you're just like, hey, just a reminder, we're done. You're not following us home. And doing it right means that they're not going to follow you home. I firmly believe that. So if you go into it, and if you're going into an investigation, Arthur, and you're just like, well, I don't understand how just saying it's going to work. It may not. So something to kind of keep in mind there. Let's see here. I'm trying to read. Our Corianne says, in hindsight, do you agree that it was meant to calm you? And she's talking about that scent in the car. I do agree with that, but it just didn't work. I mean, what else would be? What other reason would there be? Kind of like a sweet smell of kind of a rosy sort of perfume that came out of nowhere. That's not going to be dark. We all know that if truly dark, something that's really meant to scare you is probably going to have a different smell to it. It's not going to smell like a summer day. So yes, I agree that it probably was meant to calm me, but unfortunately, I don't think that it really did work. And then Corianne also asked the question, if you can build an ideal paranormal investigation team today, which experts would be your A team? Well, and I'm glad you bring this up. And this is, we say this a lot. There are no such things as experts in the paranormal. And I would highly disagree with anyone who calls themselves such. An expert would be someone who knows every facet of what happens in this realm and the other realms, because that's what you deal with. And expert is really not a term that I am personally comfortable with. And anyone who in the paranormal who uses that term, I'm sorry, I just don't want to even deal with them personally. There are no such thing as experts. I do think, and I call myself seasoned. I call myself a seasoned paranormal investigator because I've been doing it long enough, which I think means that, you could, and I think that really came to term last year when I was on that investigation out in Missouri, because I do believe I was able to help people that were frightened and didn't know what to do. And I knew how to help them. At least I hope I did. And I think that's a role that someone seasoned can do. But that is not a role of an expert. So, I think really, once again, there are people that I really investigate with. And in some ways, like if I investigate with Shar and I go and we do cleansing of houses and stuff, we don't do a paranormal investigation. It's evolved. It's kind of hard to explain because we're not there to capture recordings unless the client wants that. We're not there to capture proof. We're there to get to a result. And we'll normally do so when we're there. It's not like, let's do it a few times. We will do it while we're there. We did one a few months ago with somebody in the community that was fairly influential. And we went in, we identified what needed to be done, and we took care of it, all within about 3 hours. And I do call it evolved. Once again, we're not experts. We're seasoned. Shar is very gifted. I'm gifted. And that's the sort of thing I like to do. So it doesn't mean I don't record things anymore, but it's not the same as it used to be, unless the client would like something like that. Let's see, Ernie Pack, we were just talking about you. There are jerks in death, just as in life, but most who have passed are very kind and respectful. And I think that that's in regards to Arthur's statement of like, well, why would they follow on? Because, yeah, basically, I do believe that sometimes people or spirits don't realize what they're doing or the effect it has on us. And they're just, and if you are very gifted, you are going to be a beacon of light. And so spirits are going to kind of like the moth to the flame sort of thing, that spirits are going to come to you and they are going to want your attention, or they like your energy. You're a bit of a buffet, perhaps. I don't know. And that is something that, you just have to be very careful on. And so, yeah, as to what Ernie's saying, you don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be anything, but you do have to be firm. You do have to be firm about it. And that applies to if they are jerks or not, that just works. And Arthur says, couldn't the homeowner or business owner with an entity say the same thing? If so, there's no investigator. Well, I think I just said it's all about intention. And, not everybody knows how to do this. As what we're saying right now, it doesn't always work the first time. You need to kind of be able to kind of understand the different realms of spirit and whatnot, because you have to be able to get that intention across to them. And these people may not know. They're also going to be very frightened in a lot of cases. If they're calling on us, they're normally frightened. They don't know what to do. So we are there. We are also, once we do our investigation, we tell them, you are in control, which is what I just said earlier, Arthur. We are in control of ourselves. They don't always know that. And even though that you could tell them that and you could try it, you still want to get in there and just do a proper job of getting things reset for them so that they can go ahead with their own lives. But from that point on, they also need to be like, if we just came in and got rid of a bunch of spirits for them, move them to somewhere else, or come to some kind of conclusion, it's best for them not to talk about it either. Not for them to keep bringing it up or keep going, because that is something, the more you talk about it, the more it's going to come back. So there is work on their end as well. Let's see here. Ernie says, clearing a spirit from a residence or location is far different from avoiding attachment. That is true as well. Let's see here. Just looking at what other people have to say. Let's see. Carol says, could that rosy smell be a spirit from a past family member or someone from your life who has been there to help you? Absolutely. I think that is probably what it was. And, it doesn't necessarily mean either that they saw that I was, at the Villisca Axe murder house and that they wanted to make sure that, they knew that I knew that they had my back. It could just be that they just saw that I was scared and that they wanted to do something about that. And that's a very fair thing as well. And Linda does say it doesn't take much to say what you mean. And I think that that's a very valid point there, that you just have to have conviction behind it. You have to, believe in what you're saying. But it isn't hard. But, there are a lot of different things that make up an investigation or helping or a cleansing that just the business owner or homeowner are not going to be able to do or understand. Or even if they read up on it, like they go on the internet and like, well, this is what it says I should do. Not a good idea. There are people who are trained in that area that can help, and that can, every case is different. Every spirit is different. Every situation is different. And that's why you want to call in someone that can help, because doing so, you don't know what you're going to bring in, what you're going to call in just by what you're thinking you're doing a good job. You're thinking that you're helping the situation. And in fact, you're not helping the situation. You're making it worse. It's always good. And folks, if you're listening to me and you're like, oh my gosh, how much does that cost? Reach out to anybody who can do an investigation, do a cleansing. If they say that they're going to charge you money for it, stay away from them. We do not charge. That is a taboo thing. We do not charge. We do not let people, to take money from, unless it's like gas, if we're out of town or something. So definitely do not have to pay for that. You find someone who's charging you, stay away. This is like the quickest hour, isn't it? I love doing these. I hope you enjoyed them as well. Tomorrow we return with Psychic Medium, Refined Divine. We're going to do one question readings. Everyone, have a good night. Take care.